Hi Harry, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
Can you just give us a quick introduction about KEFI Minerals?
KEFI Minerals is a first mover in Ethiopia and Saudi Arabia in the minerals sector, exploration and development now. We set out to get that position about a decade ago, and we're at a very critical turning point now of things coming online. That's what we do, and we manage joint ventures with very strong partners locally, and we're listed on AIM.
And can you tell us about the different kind of countries that you're operating in?
Well, both countries are part of what's called the Arabian Nubian Shield in a geological sense, and they have very strong potential, proven potential, and some discoveries made for West Australian style gold deposits, as well as what's called VMS systems, and some world-class discoveries have already been made, although it's pretty early days for the region. And we're the first movers in Ethiopia. Some others have come in since, including Newmont and others. And in fact, I know at this conference there's a new IPO in Canada, another first early mover into Ethiopia, following us. In Saudi Arabia, the country sort of slowed down on the mining side. It never really attacked it as a priority. Too much money being made out of other areas, but now it's a prioritised area, and because we've been in there a decade, we've got a bit of an early mover advantage there. So yeah, the two countries at critical turning points.
And what's the kind of key projects going into 2020?
Key projects 2020 are the development starting in Tulu Kapi in Ethiopia. It's a gold project, a sort of a classic West Australian style open pit CIL. And we've got strong people in place, and contractors in place, and bankers in place, and partners in place, and we're going through the closing procedures now. It's a 6-month process where the government partners already started spending their money. The private partner starts spending their money shortly, imminently, and the banks do their final close just after the Ethiopian elections, which is around the middle of the year. So there's a 6-month process of boom, 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 closing documentation and sign-offs, leading to full earthworks construction in the second half of the year. And in Saudi Arabia, we've just made a discovery which looks like it's worth something bigger, if you like, in a value sense than Tulu Kapi in Ethiopia. Based on very early drilling, 30 drill holes have hit a structure consistently, and it's already of a scale that shows the economic pie, if you like, is bigger than the economic pie at Tulu Kapi. Simpler structure, simpler partnership, simpler financing, so that'll probably get going a lot quicker and easier, that one. So we've got 2 development assets on the books, and we've got a few others in the pipeline, and so the countries are coming alive. So I think 7 or 8 years of terrible stock market performance for the sector and for the company should start moving the other direction, with not just because commodity prices have improved, not just because some investors have come back to the sector, but particularly because these 2 countries have turned it on for mining, and we just happen to be in a position where we can, if you like, capitalise and execute on the things we've been working at so hard for 5 to 10 years.
So everything's looking really positive. So what's the message to investors?
Well, I think if you're like me, where I've spent at least half of the last 5 years tearing away at setting these things up, and I've put a lot of money for me into the company. To me, it's the first time I can feel a tailwind. It's the first time. Up until now, personally, I feel like I've been fighting against a headwind, politically, market cycle-wise, and so on. So that's pretty important, and it's all in the execution now. I feel like we've got to the top of the mountain, climbed hard, like a marathon up to the top, and now we're on that sort of slope down where we have to make sure we don't trip over. That's how it feels like to me, and if these commodity prices, gold price, continue to behave so positively, and the countries do everything that they're wanting to do, and they're working hard at it, We have to execute and close, and we've got very good people, contractors, very good partners. It's a first-class platform we've built for this, and finally we can get on with it.
Sounds very exciting. So how do you find the conference so far?
Well, this is the first time I've stepped away from my table because we've got a lot of meetings scheduled back to back. So the sector's clearly come alive. The sort of the experienced investors or specialist investors are all here, and so the signs are that there are a lot of people hoping what I'm hoping, I suppose, that wherever they're investing and wherever they're deploying their time and energy and money, that they have the same sense that I do, I'd say. In our particular jurisdictions, in our particular projects, we just happen to be at a key points of turning or inflection. And that's the really exciting thing, that if it all goes well, we'll add multiples of value quite quickly. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time, Harry.
You're welcome.
Cheers. Yeah.